Good evening and welcome to Toxic Masculinity, the least professional show on the internet. In fact, how late are we? We're almost 15 minutes late. Jason's
Chris,
like, why is there so few people? Yeah.
No, I was just wondering, are you sure you're not from Miami? Because that's like Miami time right there.
Oh,
people always
15 minutes late?
Yeah, people are always late here.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. No, I mean, I need to go to school in Miami where I met you, sir. But no, I'm from Oregon, and
you learned from college days.
We're usually on time. I don't know. Jason thinks I have a thyroid problem because I was tired yesterday, and now I'm tired again today. I'll go to the doctor. We'll find out. All right.
Either that or low T.
Low T. Gosh, I hope not. That would be.
Hey, Daisy. Daisy. We have a person from Australia. Daisy, welcome. I think she's been on the. I've seen her on the chat before. We're always talking about guns and stuff with her because she's amazed how America is so free with guns.
Well, hold on. I mean, is this Daisy Cousins? I don't know.
Is it?
Maybe.
That would be awesome.
I don't know.
It'll be awesome. Daisy. It'd be awesome if it's not, but I mean,
I know. Whatever Daisy you are, we love you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get into it. We have a lot of stories which we got to go through. But the first thing I want to do, in case nobody has seen this, I want to play something for you guys. This is something I've been meaning to promote on the show. It's something I've been meaning to review for the show. But I haven't been able to get to it because none of the women that I know out here where I'm staying are keen on going to see this movie. So I haven't gone to go see it, but I want to see it. Let's watch a little clip here.
I was a brand new KGB officer, given my first intelligence assignment. A certain actor and union leader.
Dutch, there's a purpose for your life.
You can run from a bully for so long, but after a while, you're going to have to stand up to him.
There's about to be another war right here in Hollywood. The commies on one side, the mob on the other. And you're right in the middle, son.
Hello, I'm Nancy Davis.
Hello, Nancy Davis. I'm Ron Reagan.
I'm curious, Ron. What would you say is the issue of our time?
No question about it. Communism and the Soviet Union.
It's you.
I'm running for governor, and I would like your vote.
I forgot your name.
Do his initials help or are?
Honey, Roy Rogers is here. And he's running for governor.
Ronnie, remember when we met? You told me that you wanted to make a difference in this world. You know what you have to do.
Governor Reagan again, typically, is against such a proposal.
There you go again.
But he was not afraid to take us on.
There's nothing a retired governor can do about the Soviets, but a president. Now he can do a thing or two.
Welcome to your life.
I was a lifeguard on a river.
There's no turning back.
And I learned how to read the currents. Not just the ones on the surface, but also the ones deep underneath the water.
I am about to start the biggest war of this century, and I'm not going to fire a single shot.
You're going to blow up 8 years of diplomacy.
Well, if you think that got their undies in a wad, you just wait.
What did the president know, and when did he know it?
What would you have me do?
I want you to fight.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Wants to dwell.
Anyway, I think that looks spectacular. I think Mr. Quaid is an excellent Ronald Reagan. I happen to have met Penelope Ann Miller, who plays Nancy, out in California. And let's just say that she is not necessarily fixed on this leftist Hollywood agenda. She's actually a kind of a reasonable, sensible person. We didn't get into too much detail, but yeah, I liked her. I thought she was great. And I cannot wait to watch this movie. I've been looking forward to it for quite a long time. And I will eventually find somebody to drag out there and what, even if it's a guy, I will bring somebody and I'll make them watch this movie with me. Anyway, we got a super chat here from MMA Fix. He says, "Wait, you guys have days when you're not tired?" I know we're getting old. We're getting up there. But usually I'm a little bit more professional than 15 minutes late. I'm very disappointed in myself. I'm going to blame Kurt Franklin, our third host, who disappeared on us at some point.
He's always on time when he's on Newsmax. So
I know. Well, I don't know what happened this morning. Anyway, I got a haircut. Maybe that was it. Maybe it took all my strength away. That was a biblical reference. Guess you got that.
Good one.
Too soon? All right. So anyway, Jason, what do you think of this movie? You looking forward to it?
I guess I'll wait till it comes out and where I can
you can never
get it on streaming or something. Yeah.
Oh, you're not gonna actually go out and see it?
Nah, I haven't been to a movie theater in like years. So
yeah, do that. If it's funny, when I was in let's go ahead and get into some controversial racial topics. When I was in New York, the first time I was ever in New York, holy smokes, Curtis jumps in here with $100 super chat as typical for Curtis.
Hey, Curtis.
Our favorite super chat gentleman, KD5AYY. He says,
"What?
I finally got to watch from the start of your stream." Yeah, because okay, if he's late and we're late,
why is it always good to hear from Curtis? I wonder why.
I don't know. Just brilliant things to say, I think. What a gentleman. So I'm in New York, and this is the first. I had moved to New York for a while. I had lived there for a while, but this was like the first week I was there, and I went to go see a movie by myself because I didn't know anybody in New York. I was taking a job there, so I went to like the Times Square movie theater. There was like a movie theater in there, Times Square somewhere or close to there, and it might have been 34th Street actually. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I go into this movie theater, and it's like all black people. It's all black people. And I think I saw one of the Matrix movies. It wasn't very good, but they're like yelling at the screen, screaming vulgarities. Like it was the weirdest thing I ever experienced. I like, what the hell? Like, I come from Oregon where everybody watches a movie and they're like dead quiet, unless it's a comedy, and then you like laugh, obviously, if it's funny. But it's like such a difference in culture. And I thought, is this like just these people, or is this how black people watch movies? And then I've seen on like comedy things where like black people are talking about how black people watch movies. I'm like, yes, I've experienced this. It's so weird to me. It's such a weird difference between how white people watch movies and how black people watch movies. This is I think one of the reasons why people say multiculturalism isn't necessarily good, because that was tough.
Well,
if that was a movie I liked, I would not have been happy watching that movie.
Well, Chris, they appropriated that from white people being like that. If you read the history books, during Shakespearean plays back in the globe, the people used to yell, throw things. So, it's been appropriated.
That is true. Okay, well, anyway, that was just a random observation I had.
But you're right. It is a cultural thing. It is.
And look, I mean, that's obviously a relatively insignificant cultural issue, I guess. I don't even know if you'd call it a problem, but it is like a cultural issue that I think it's kind of a weird thing where I think there's an incompatibility there when it comes to watching movies specifically. But you can also find other kinds of incompatibilities with different cultures. And so it's just like, that's just a small example of why multiculturalism isn't necessarily always the best thing. But, the left would have you believe that it's always the best possible thing. It's kind of interesting because I live right now, where I'm living is extremely multicultural, and it works really, really well. because the cultures that are here all tend to be pretty respectful, which is nice.
So what are you saying? What are you saying? There's no black people?
Barely. Barely. That's pretty funny, actually. But no, you know what I think it is, actually? This is a place that is not natively white, right? It's a place that's natively, I guess, Southeast Asian. And most of the people here are Southeast Asian. And then the sort of like, I guess, immigrants here or visitors are all like white Europeans. But the thing is, all of the white Europeans are very, very respectful of the local culture. I think probably there are a couple of, you will always have a couple of people who are a bit of a problem. But I've never really seen that. I've never really seen a problem where the people who are visiting are really disrespectful to the native culture here. And I think that's what is required for multicultural harmony, right? If you want a multicultural, this is what I've learned here, I guess, since I've lived here. If you want a multicultural society, you have to bring in people who are respectful of the local culture. As they can have their own culture as long as they're kind of quiet about it and they're not shoving it in your face and they're not like aggressively rude or whatever. And also the people that are coming in here tend to have a lot more money than the people who are here. So the people who are here, they want the people coming in because they're like, oh, when you come in, you spend a lot of money, right? Which is literally the opposite that happens in Europe and America. People come in and then they'll take from government assistance and whatever and that kind of thing. And they tend to be perceived as a burden on society. Anyway, just a couple of observations about
it's
in the morning.
I don't mind it when a movie is bad and you're like bored and then you have like a loud audience. It makes the movie interesting, like at those moments. But when you're like really into a movie, it kind of sucks. But sometimes it can be funny,
That particular situation was, I would say, in the end, it was actually good for me because I got to experience that. Like that was weird for me. That was like a crazy thing. But I definitely would not have wanted that to happen with a movie like you say, like I enjoyed. I'm not a huge fan of the Matrix movies. I mean, we can get into that in another time, but that was definitely a weird experience.
Speaking of the Matrix movie, did you watch that with us? Because remember they showed it in UM. I kind of remember.
I don't think I saw it with you, but we have discussed it many times because it came out like right around that time when I went to college.
Yeah, I saw a special screening in UM when at that time in UM they were showing it, special screening.
Okay, no, I don't think I did see it with you because I think it came out like the year before I went there or something like that. We might not have met yet, or maybe we did. Maybe we saw it together. It's possible. It's been a long time.
It was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. I remember because I have a theory about the Matrix. This is kind of a weird tangent as well, but it's not really a theory. I think it's the truth. But because I don't know if you guys know the Wachowski brothers who made the Matrix movie are now the Wachowski sisters.
Exactly.
They're both transgender.
And hold on. Gia Jose, it's University of Miami.
Yeah, University of Miami. So they're both like extremely hardcore atheists, like not just atheists, but like hateful bigot atheists. Like they hate Christianity. Like if you watch that movie with the Guy Fawkes movie, what's it called? You know what I'm talking about? They made it after the Matrix movies. You know what I'm talking about, Jason?
No.
Okay. Somebody in the comment section will let you know. Anyway, they made that movie. That movie was basically just an anti-Christian diatribe. It was a weird movie because it was about
Vendetta.
Yeah, Vendetta. Thank you. V for Vendetta.
I hated that movie, so that's why I didn't know.
That's why you deleted it from your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the V for Vendetta movie was simply like an anti-Christian diatribe. It was basically like we're going to have authoritarianism, and that authoritarianism, and they kind of based it on like the 1984 idea, and they're like that authoritarianism is going to be all theocracy. It's going to be all like a Christian-based authoritarianism, which I've never understood the concept of the Christian-based authoritarianism, because Christianity is like, a religion of like love everybody, love your neighbor, love your enemy. turn the other cheek. You know, it's like the most peaceful, kind religion in the history of the world. And they're like, this religion is going to be authoritarian. They're going to strip you from all of your rights. It's like, well, when did Christianity ever really do that? If ever you had a Christian nation that was like particularly violent or vicious or nasty, it was usually the people in power weren't particularly Christian. They were usually
exactly
themselves sort of like power hungry or crazy.
Power hungry, yeah, exactly.
You know, like if you read about the Spanish Inquisition was not nearly as horrible as it's depicted,
No.
you know, in popular culture. If you look back through the records, it was actually not that bad at all, especially if you compare it to, you know, the secular punishments at the time for things.
I think
quite kind.
Yeah, I think it was like something like 300 people were killed during that. It's like such a low number.
No, it's got to be more than that. I
it was something like
again,
that.
but I have to refresh my memory on Spanish Inquisition. But I do remember reading a whole bunch of stuff about how, you know, it's kind of been overblown over the decades, and
Of
it's
course,
been used to sort of demonize.
Just like the Crusades. Just like the Crusades was a bad thing, which it wasn't. It was a Christians defending themselves from the encroachment.
It was a reaction
of the Muslims.
against the Muslim armies for hundreds of years, actually trying to attack Europe. And also, people will claim
which Europe needs a fourth crusade, or did they have a fourth crusade? I don't know, a 10th crusade or something.
People will claim that there's been like religious wars between Catholics and Protestants forever, and the truth is most of those conflicts are due to territorial conflicts between different factions that may be more easily identifiable by their religious affiliation. But it's not necessarily the religious affiliation itself that's the problem. So, for instance, I mean, there was religious persecution for sure, but it was never. I don't think it was ever super serious, or it wasn't often super serious. But with say like Northern Ireland, for instance, the Northern Irish conflict was always between what you would call English invaders into Ireland and native Irish. And you could tell the English invaders because they were Protestant, and the native Irish because they were Catholic, and that's how you identified them. But it wasn't actually the fact that they were Protestant. Like, I'm Protestant, and if I go into Northern Ireland, into a Catholic neighborhood, they don't care about me because I'm American. So for, you know, I'm not part of that conflict, right? So it's all to do with, you know, something completely different. But anyway, I digress. Shall we go on to the next story?
Yep, sure.
Oh, I wanted to say about The Matrix. So when I first saw The Matrix, I was, you know, I didn't really know what to think of it, but I did think it was weird that they kept referencing Christ throughout the movie. And then at the end of the movie, you know, he sort of dies and is like resurrected at the end of the film. But there was all these very anti-Christian messages throughout the movie. Like these very sort of like things that didn't, like there's a moment where Morpheus suggests to Neo that it was acceptable for the Oracle to lie to him. It's a very famous thing. The Oracle says he's not the one, but it turns out he is the one, and all this kind of thing. And then Neo says, well, she told you what you had to hear. And I'm like, that's like the opposite of the Christian. The Christian messages don't lie. And the message in the movie is, well, it's good to lie if it's what you need to hear, you know, kind of thing. And I thought that's kind of a weird thing that they would create this very Christ-like character, supposedly, you know, reference Christ all the time, but then have these anti-Christian themes in the film. So then I saw it a second time, sort of by chance. It was just playing, and I was waiting for some people, so I was watching it through. And there's that scene where the Agent Smith is telling Morpheus, like, you know, when we first created this world, when the AI, when the computer first created this world, the Matrix, this illusion of reality, we originally made it perfect. Everybody's life was perfect, but everybody kept waking up. They couldn't handle the perfection. So then we had to create this sort of like effed up 20th century. And that's where you now have to live. You have to live in this sort of like not so perfect world because you can't handle perfection. And I thought, well, that's like the story of Adam and Eve, isn't it? And then I started thinking, what if Morpheus isn't the good guy? What if Morpheus is actually like a demon, and what, or like an evil human or something? And what if the agents are angels? And so I started looking at it from that lens. And if you look at it from that lens, Neo is the Antichrist, and then the whole movie made sense. Everything in the movie started to make sense to me, and I'm like, oh, they're making the bad guy the good guy. So like the Antichrist, the story from the Middle Ages of the Antichrist eventually evolved into this idea that the Antichrist exists to like trick humanity, right? To fool them into following a false Christ. And what's funny is they kind of did this with the movie. They made Neo. And I remember at the time, after that movie came out, churches were like taking their like youth groups to go see The Matrix and being like, look, this is just like the story of Christ. And I was like, no, you shouldn't take them to see this movie because this is supposed to be the Antichrist, you guys. And it worked. It like tricked a bunch of people into thinking he was a hero and everything. We still use references from The Matrix, like to talk about being red-pilled and stuff like that, which I actually think is a good metaphor. But I do think in the film, he wasn't actually woken up by, that wasn't the only thing that happened to him. I think when he took that red pill, he just died. And when he woke up in the real world, he just woke up in hell. But anyway, watch the movie again with that lens. And I think that
interesting.
It might blow your mind. It might just blow your mind.
You're kind of making the series better for me because I really hate those movies. I think they're terrible. I mean, the first one was all right, and only because it was written by somebody else that they stole the screenplay from and they stole the movie from. But
is that true?
That's true. Yeah, there was a whole lawsuit, and I think she actually won the original creator.
Really?
That's why the next two movies were just terrible because they didn't have the original person that created it. But
interesting.
Yeah. So, but that's interesting what you said. You've actually made it kind of more interesting, the film. You make me want to actually watch it.
I'm surprised we haven't talked about that before.
Yeah,
we talk about movie crap all the time
because Hollywood likes to do that. They put the hidden messages of what they believe in into their movies. If you really look hard into certain movies, you'll see like secret messages in there and what they think of the world and all that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, these two transgender dudes who
but both brothers aren't transgenders now. Yeah. Wow. That's weird, right? But no, they those guys are like deeply hateful of Christianity, deeply like strong atheists. And so they would never make a movie where their hero is the embodiment of Christ. So that doesn't even make sense. Yeah.
So if you read about these guys, they hate Christianity. So why would they make a movie that has a sort of Christ analogy? Well, they wouldn't, right? So if you watch it again, he's the Antichrist is what it is.
I know. I was just thinking about this. I know why they're both transgender now because their movies are flopping. So hey, let's both become transgender and we're back in the spotlight, and they'll probably hire us to direct more films.
They became transgender a long time ago. I think like
I know the one brother,
days.
was a while like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
anyway,
let's have a look at this other trailer. Oh, sorry, I'm doing things wrong here. There we go. Let's have a look at this other trailer. I'm loving this. I don't know if this is going to be an actual film. I guess it is. It's like a documentary, but it's like a satirical documentary. And he says not satire, and I think the reason he says not satire is because they're making this into an actual movie. So let's have a look. This is pretty awesome.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the heat death of the universe. These are some of the deadliest days in history. But none of them compare to the most deadliest day. January 6, 2021. Coming soon in the most epic movie event since Robot Jocks, Left Behind, or maybe even Son of the Mask. The Babylon Bee investigates the darkest day in the history of democracy.
Where were you on January 6th? In January?
I don't remember.
Storming the Capitol, baby. No.
Scary stuff like this happened.
So on a scale of 9 to 10, how terrifying was what you just witnessed?
3? I don't know.
We go on location. We bring you 100% true facts.
Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was murdered over 7 times.
We ask the tough questions.
Is it true that you have a Jewish space laser? This is incredibly boring. Could you explain it to me using Marvel characters?
We even go face to face with the scariest criminals you'll ever meet.
Are you the dangerous insurrection man?
Who's asking?
We're in. Into the lair of darkness I go. Darkness because he's a Republican, not because he's, never mind.
I love that bit. That was my favorite bit. It's into the dead of darkness we go. Darkness because he's a Republican.
It's not satire because it's kind of is.
Well, the movie is satire, obviously, but I think what he's saying is they really did make a movie. This is actually a movie that they're going to come out with, which I think is amazing because it looks awesome.
They should have wrote that at the end. Yes, and we really did make a movie.
I think, yeah, it's a poorly worded tweet, but I think that's what he meant when he said not satire. I think that's what he was trying to convey there. That's how I interpret it. Anyway, like I love that.
The boy that cried wolf. Though, I
know. Well, all right, let's do a couple more stories here. I do want to get into the Elon Musk, Donald Trump Government Efficiency Board because I think that's just awesome. An awesome team up. I don't know. What do you think of this?
They are not going to let Trump win. I'm sorry.
You know what? You know why you just said that? I can read your mind, Jason. You know why you just said that? You just said that because you realized how amazing having Elon Musk would be having a government efficiency board, how much that would clean up the federal government, how much that would reduce corruption, how much that would improve the country. And you thought, wow, this is going to be so detrimental to the deep state, basically corruption in Washington, D.C., that they can't let that happen because it would disrupt the flow of money and all that kind of thing. And that's what you're thinking, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. Everything you just said is what I was thinking.
I can read minds, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I can see when you went like this. They're not going to let Trump win. You thought all that, and you thought, "Oh, that's too much. It's too good. It's just too good."
You should have an envelope and be like,
I know.
Open it up. And
I'll do it with the leftists, and I'll do it with the Republicans. No, but the reason, because you're like, okay, I know we shouldn't get into this because we didn't even cover the topic of the story yet, but the reason you're thinking that is because you're like, it's too damn good. It's too good. They can't let us have this happy, perfect country. No. It just has to be corrupt. It has to be effed up. That's what you're thinking. All right, let's look at MMA Fix jumped in here again. He says, Christina and Jalen started making some good movies, ! Christina and Jalen.
That's their name now? That's their name now?
Oh, no. I think he's talking about us.
Hey, good idea. Good idea, MMA Fix. Chris, we need to go into Hollywood like that and say we're the new duo of the Hollywood film directing.
Tell them that we've become Kamala supporters. And we're changing our names. MMA Fix is a genius.
And it's ma'am. It's ma'am.
It's ma'am. All right. Let's do another story here. Let's find. We got to have something, right? Jury selection will begin in the Hunter Biden's tax trial months after his gun conviction.
Well, you need to skip that one and go to the next story about that because he just his lawyers just made a great tactic.
Really?
The same day.
Okay.
Yep. The same day I posted that.
I've been sleeping, ladies and gentlemen, so I don't know what's going on. Hold on. I got to find it. I don't know where it is.
Yeah, it should be in the bottom, like.
Oh, at the end. It's at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Bro, I'm not going to find this. Okay, here we go. Hunter Biden changes plea to guilty before the trial begins. Look at that.
Can you believe that news at the moment happening?
I always thought it was a tragedy that his wife is pretty attractive woman, but I'm pretty sure she must be totally effed up. All right. Hunter Biden changed his plea to guilty before his trial began on Thursday morning. His attorney, Abby Lowell, said on Thursday, a move that allows him to avoid nearly 1 month trial with damaging testimony. The changed plea deal potentially validates speculation that President Joe Biden will pardon or commute his son's sentences. Yeah, no kidding. The reversal was announced just before the jury selection was expected to begin. The court went into recess after the announcement. Conditions of the plea were not immediately disclosed, nor whether the judge will accept his attempt to avoid trial and move straight to sentencing. Federal prosecutor Leo Wise said, "This is the first we're hearing about this," according to Fox News. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's smart. Like he avoids having to go through court, and then Biden can pardon him, and they're all safe.
Yeah. I hate that guy. What an absolute douchebag.
Yeah,
just one of the most detestable human beings on the planet. Son of the current president, who is completely illegitimately in office, took bribes. They just had that report come out, the impeachment inquiry into Joe Biden, like detailing all of his crimes, or at least a lot of his crimes. And what the hell? That like came and went in the news. It was like not even a blip on the news. And it's like,
of course,
you've just exposed all of Joe Biden's corruption. He should be out of office.
Yeah.
Already.
Look. The legacy media needs to be destroyed, man. That's the problem right now.
Yeah, I don't know what to do about the legacy media, to be honest, because I don't even know how to deal with.
I think they're slowly being destroyed through with X and what's happening, but. I mean, they have such a grip on these fools called the Democrats, Yeah,
gullible American voters.
Yeah.
It's very sad. It's very sad. I don't know. What are you thinking about this trial? I just think it's a way where he doesn't have to go to trial. Biden can pardon his son. But I was thinking too, so when if Trump becomes president, he can probably charge him on other stuff with Biden. Here's what they
this is in a way is a good thing.
You know what actually would be super smart of Biden and the Democrats and all of the FBI and everybody involved in the whole Hunter Biden fiasco. They should expose all of his corruption literally like in early October. It should be a huge scandal.
This is why October coming.
Yeah.
Like October surprise.
I literally am just developing this theory right now. Okay. You know how I said Joe Biden's going to step down and Kamala Harris is going to step in as the first female president. All the spotlight's going to be on her. And then it's going to be all this hullabaloo, the first female president. And then that's hopefully going to be their sort of Hail Mary to get her across the finish line to beat Trump, which I don't think is going to work, but I think that's what they're going to do. It occurs to me that they're going to expose all Joe Biden's stuff, like all of it, in maybe like
his own people, right?
His own people, like the FBI, people who have been protecting him forever. Late September, they're going to do this. Maybe early October, probably late September. And it's going to come out. There's probably going to be leakers. There's going to be other people that accuse Joe Biden. It's all going to be obvious. There's going to be probably charges written up, accusations, all this stuff. It's going to be all documented. There's going to be a list of charges probably. And I think the reason they're going to do this, and this will be the reason that Joe Biden steps down, right? Quote unquote. But I think the reason that they're going to do this is because Joe Biden's going to need a list of charges that Kamala Harris can pardon him from. in some way, right? And I think the reason they're going to do that is because if Joe Biden, if there's any possible charges that could be laid at Joe Biden, and Donald Trump gets into office, Donald Trump's DOJ could charge him. Donald Trump could, have that stuff investigated. And I don't know exactly how it's going to work because I'm not a legal. I'm just coming to me as I'm thinking about it. But like, how is Joe Biden going to inoculate himself against Donald Trump coming in and throwing the book at him?
Yeah, true. I didn't think about that.
I think they got to throw it all out there ahead of time and have him pardoned for all these crimes before Trump gets in there. So, or maybe it'll happen. I mean, at some point, Joe Biden is going to step down. They're going to have probably charges filed. Maybe he's even found guilty of stuff. I don't know. And then Kamala Harris is just going to.
I definitely think they're going to throw him under the bus. I definitely think he's the scapegoat. I definitely think that everything is going to be blamed on Biden. I've been saying that for a while, and that's their way of getting out of the disaster that was these past 4 years. I think it's going to be all put on Biden and maybe his son.
Under the bus. You can completely throw him under the bus, and that benefits him because as long as he is thrown under the bus, as long as that lamb is sacrificed before Trump gets into office,
they'll avoid. Yeah, good point.
Kamala can pardon him for everything,
and they could avoid a messy trials and yeah. No, that's yep.
And he could plead guilty or whatever. So, like you say, they can avoid trials. Yeah, I think that's how it's going to go down. Maybe not. I might be wrong. But that's actually the smartest thing for them to do because Joe Biden is so dirty. He's so corrupt. I think it's the only way to get out of it.
But you're right. The way to avoid that disaster on the Democrats is by doing exactly what you're saying. Man, why do you keep giving them ideas? Stop it. Chris. Stop. Man.
Democrats, if you need an operative, I'm just saying. I can tell you what to do. I can tell you how to work out
Chris,
your problem.
Don't give them any ideas. Come on. But you know what? They're probably too stupid to do it anyway. They're probably too stupid to listen to you anyway. So.
Probably. Yeah. Just pay me $100 million a year. We're good to go. I'll sell out. All right. Oh yeah. Did you hear about the? That's another story I wanted to cover. Do you have that on here?
Which one?
The story about Lauren Chen taking the $10 million from the Russians.
I think I have something. I think I have it up there. I think so.
Do you have it up there? Let me find it real quick because I don't know. This is kind of a big story.
I think I have it. I think I put it.
Well, let me just grab it real quick because Gorka posted about it. Let's see here. And here's the reason I want to talk about this. There is another story, actually, that I would also like to...
I put the Chinese spy one.
No, yeah. There's another story I want to get to, actually, about these guys that were, like, talking to a police officer, and they were like, you're just going to let this guy go? And the police officer's like, yeah, this is a sanctuary city. We don't arrest illegal immigrants. Which is not, by the way, how sanctuary cities work, but he's basically like, I can't arrest this guy because he's an illegal immigrant, illegal alien. And it's like, well, I think with sanctuary cities, you can't call ICE, but you can certainly arrest an illegal alien, you moron. Anyway, that's another story I want to get to. That's kind of a big deal. I didn't have time to prep for it today. All right, so here's the thing.
Hold on, 1 second. Space Cowboy, welcome to the stream. It's his first time.
Hey, Space Cowboy, how you doing, brother? We appreciate you. Where is this? You know what Gorka's problem is? He posts like 1,000 times a day.
Yeah, so it's true.
So I gotta scroll forever to find the thing that I want. Anyways, the Tenet Media thing. So the whole story is basically like it's come out that Lauren Chen took like $10 million from the Russian government or somebody in Russia, and then paid a bunch of these, I don't know, Republican YouTubers or commentators to, with this money. Which is pretty insane, right?
Yes, I read about this. Yeah.
And now here's the thing. Oh, God dang it!
I love your reply. Why didn't you get some of that money, right?
Yes. Yes, and I'm so annoyed because I feel like I'm always overlooked, with these things. And all right, so this is what I wanted to read. Okay, we're here. I found it. Share screen. Yeah, it'll be the last one, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, so Gorka says always follow the money. He says in February 2023, Lauren Chen actually approached Sebastian Gorka to be the face for her new media outlet, Tenet Media. He said the money looked great, but I want to know where it was coming from. So it was a simple question, you would think. But after pushing repeatedly, she gave me the names of people who had zero internet footprint, like Edward Gregorian, who had zero media connections. And he said he means none. He goes, it just didn't add up. He says, warning, if you have a brand and someone wants to leverage it, find out who they are. It's that simple. And that's the great thing about Gorka. He's such a big name, right? He's got such a big presence. He's got such a big radio network. And, he was former advisor to Donald Trump. Everybody knows who he is. He's got to be very careful of who he aligns with because he could damage his brand.
Wait a minute. So he came on this show, so he's not that careful.
What an idiot. All right. So he says, it's that simple. FYI, according to yesterday's DOJ indictment, Edward Gregorian doesn't even exist and was invented by RussiaToday.com and the Kremlin. Those caught up in Chen's web should have known better seriously unless due diligence was not important to them. P.S. I don't trust the Harris Biden DOJ as far as I can spit them after what they did to the innocent January 6ers, my White House colleagues, Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, and what they're still doing to my former boss, President Trump, right now. But the Tenet op is real. Time will tell what Chen knew and when she knew it. In the meantime, stay frosty. So the Tenet thing is real. It's not a psyop. It's not a FBI BS. I hate the Republicans thing. It's a real thing. Gorka was approached and he said no. And I actually texted him. I was like, I'm curious who else, because he specifically texted me this tweet. Funnily enough, I had already read it just because, I go on X and I read all the big stories every day. But he sent me that specifically because he was like, this is important. And I'm like, yeah, I read it already. I was blown away by this. This is crazy. And I said, how many other people do you think? Because he was like, it's pretty easy. It was pretty easy to figure out that there was something shady going on there. And I'm like, but I wonder how many other, because I wrote him back. I'll tell you what I wrote him. I probably shouldn't. This is like private correspondence, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. I wrote, dude, you got to stand with integrity against foreign influence in the face of vast economic temptation. That's pretty darn cool. And then I wrote, vast is the wrong word, but you get the idea. Sometimes you write something and then you're like, it's not exactly what I meant. You get the idea.
Yeah. All the time.
And he goes, it was pretty easy thanks to the Kremlin and Chen's sloppy tradecraft. And then I wrote, I'm wondering if anyone else turned her down, though. And he said, probably. Maybe. Well, that's the thing. He says probably. I'm not so sure. I don't know. If you get a bunch of money thrown at you, it's so easy to go like, I don't care where it comes from.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, this could be a setup. This could be a insider setup. A swamp setup to like pull this out now. It's fishy
maybe
to me.
Something they knew from previously.
Yeah, like let's put this money into helping these Republicans or these conservative people, and then later on we could put out that it was money influence from Russia or something, And they need it now because I think this is a distraction to what's going on now with Kamala's campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So it's perfect timing.
Well, my friend Ashley St. Clair, who gets retweeted a lot more by Elon Musk than I do, by the way. He always retweets her stuff, like always. Anyway, Ashley St. Clair has been posting about this a lot because she kind of spotted this a long time ago. She put out a video talking about this. And she her claim, although I don't follow Lauren Chen, so I don't really know about this, but according to her, Lauren Chen is very anti-Trump, actually. Like, ever since she started getting this money, she's been like anti-Trump. And according to Tim Pool, he said he was never influenced by anyone to do anything. So I don't know what the story is exactly. I'm sure it'll all come out. But according to Ashley St. Clair, Lauren Chen seemed to be the only one that knew that it was, where the money was coming from. And she also was the only one that was very anti-Trump. So it's interesting. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Do you know much about this story? Did you read much about this story?
I read some of it, but I think it's a inside job. It's a setup.
Well, we'll find out.
It's too perfect. The timing is too perfect. I mean,
Yeah. So you're saying that maybe it wasn't Kremlin, maybe it was like FBI.
Yeah, and who knows if they're working with the Russians? I think the real people working with Russians are the Democrats. I mean, really, like, who bet? Let me put it this way: is Russia going to benefit from a Trump presidency or a Kamala presidency? I mean,
well, you see that? Did you see? I hope you posted it on here, because if you didn't, I will be so disappointed.
I did.
Putin's endorsement of Kamala.
I did. You can look at it. Post it now. Go for it.
I can't. I'm not going to find it. You got like 500 things.
It's like in the bottom. It's like in the bottom.
Is it in the bottom? All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find it later. But yeah, Putin. We'll get to it later. But Putin is like interviewed on some show in Russia, and they're like, "Hey, do you want Trump or you want Kamala?" And he's like, "Well, since the great President Joe Biden, he has endorsed Kamala." And he's like, and he's told all his great allies to support Kamala. I guess we're gonna support Kamala. And they're all, and everybody in the crowd just kind of snickering along with him, and everybody's kind of like, And the reason they're like that is because Putin is like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, if you vote in Kamala, you are the dumbest country in the world. Like, he knows.
It's a troll. Knows. He trolled. He trolled the United States.
It's a troll, but it's not really a troll. It's a troll sort of incidentally. I think he was just basically making a joke. He was basically endorsing Kamala, I would say almost borderline sarcastically. And the reason he's quote unquote endorsing her, not that his endorsement matters, is because he knows that if Kamala gets in office, it's such a huge benefit to him. He's not going to sit there and be like, who I would love to see as president? A man who can negotiate very well, a man who is like very, very good at, leading his country and will make life much more difficult for me. That's who I want to be president in America. No, he wants somebody who is.
Are you sure you didn't get money from Russia? Because you do a great Russian accent.
Yeah, all you have to do is pretend to be a little drunk, and you sound Russian. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a bunch of super chats. Let's get to these. Yeah,
but he's playing 4D chess though. He's playing 4D chess, Putin. You know why? Because he's like, oh, now the Democrats are going to think I'm actually supporting Trump, because they're going to think I'm only saying that to get Democrat voters pissed off, and they're all going to say, oh, look, he's making fun of it, but he's really supporting Trump. 4D chess here. 4D chess.
I don't think he's thought too much into it. I just think I think it boils down to he knows Kamala would be a fantastic president for him, because she would be so terrible for America.
All our enemies. All our enemies. Love
all of our enemies.
Kamala Harris.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the guy is going to want the president who is the least competent for the job in office, so life is easier for him. That's what he wants. He wants somebody that he can steamroll over easily. He's not going to want somebody who's going to be a good negotiator, who's going to push back, who's going to make things more difficult for him.
Trump becomes president, he's going to solve Ukraine-Russia situation so fast.
Like that.
Like that. And
Trump claims he'll do it before he ever gets into office, and I think that's probably true.
But yeah, so, and I think what's going on in Ukraine with Russia, I think that's good for Russia. Like, they love what's going on. I mean, they're actually that war is actually doing more destruction to United States than actually United States being in a war, fighting a war. So Putin's, I think Putin, China, they're loving this situation. And
I
if
think
Trump,
that America, Democrats in particular, but in Washington, D.C., the swamp, the deep state, they love anything they can throw money at, because anything that you can throw money at, you can steal money from. And so that's what I think is going on there with Ukraine. I think it's a huge, everybody says money laundering. It's not money laundering. All right. It's just theft. All right. Money laundering is you take dirty money, you put it through a system to create the illusion that it was gained legitimately. So you pay taxes on it and then you can spend it and it looks clean. That's what money laundering is. They're just stealing it. Right. It's just a way to embezzle money from the federal government. Embezzle tax.
But think about it. Whose economy is this war really affecting? I mean, it's not affecting Russia's economy. Russia's doing fine.
Well, anytime the Democrats steal money from like massive amounts of money of our tax dollars, that's not good for the economy. That's bad. But anyway, I did offer my services to the Democrat Party earlier for $10 million a year. I believe you heard that, Jason. And therefore, Hoffpower Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company jumps out and they said, Kamala/Christopher 2024. Yes, I'm on board.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I love the guy. You guys that watch this show, you guys are the best audience in the world, honestly. Jennifer jumps in. He says, looking good today, gentlemen. Thank you for your hard work and time. It is appreciated. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. I got a new haircut. Looks exactly the same as my hair all the time. But
it's I'm Jennifer, I'm glad you said that, because before the show, what did I tell you, Chris? I was like, I look like crap today.
He's feeling tired. I'm feeling sleepy.
Thank you.
So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so it's a little bit of an ego boost. Thank you so much, Jennifer. MMA Fix jumps in. $2. He says, when the Dems rule the world, I'm blaming Chris.
Yep.
I know. I'm giving him all the
no, because I think it's a tradition now. Chris has to give the damn Democrats ideas all the time. It's like, come on.
Well, it's speculation on my part as to what they're going to do, because I do think they're quite clever, and some of them, not most of them, but they do have a couple of clever guys in there that are like working their magic. Mark Elias in particular. There's a couple of other guys that are really smart that come in there. They come up with these like really sinister plans. When I say really smart, I don't mean to say that I like them. Okay, it's sort of like when Trump says Putin's really smart, or Kim Jong-il is really smart. He's not trying to say like, oh, I love these guys, they're fantastic. That's what the left would have you believe. When I say the Democrat operatives are really smart, it's not a compliment, right? It's like a warning. You know what I mean? So this is what I predict they will do based on what makes sense logically. But like Jason said, they're not always logical. They're not always smart enough to do the smart thing.
Exactly.
Sometimes they do stupid stuff. And sometimes they do stuff that you don't even expect. That's why I'm always speculating, because I want to cut them off. I always feel like if I can figure out what their most sinister plot is, and I can present it to the world, and I can get it out there and it gains traction, sometimes that daylight disinfects the situation, right? And sometimes they can't do it.
Your point is so on point. God has shined his light on you.
I know. All right. Thank you, God. All right. I didn't know we watched the show. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Sienna has jumped in. She says, Crowder talked about this yesterday. He and Chen worked for RT at some time in some capacity. Dems are looking for a diversion from the atrocity that is Kamala. Yes. Boo. Yep. You're right. I don't think that this story is actually quite as big as they're saying. It is one of those kind of stories, though, that if you are a reporter, if you are a journalist, you totally want to cover it. Now, that being said, if these were Democrat journalists, it would be a flash in the pan, right? It would come and go. It would definitely be reported on, but it would be reported on for like a day. I think this is going to be reported on for probably weeks. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's not my favorite story in the world, but it's something that I think needs to be looked at, specifically because I trust Gorka wholeheartedly. And, if he says that this is a legit thing, I think it's something we have to listen to. All right. Yes Man has jumped in. I haven't seen you in a while. Yes Man. Oh, it's good to see you, brother. He says, has anyone ever been, has anyone ever been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like? All right. So apparently
Yes.
Joe Biden has
Yes.
joined the chat.
Yes.
Yes, man. Yes. All right, Joe. How many times I got to tell you, man? Stop watching our show. We're not... Mr. Biden, go back to your vacation. Thank you, yes, man. I don't understand your message, but I appreciate the $10. You know what? I want to know why that came out like that. I'm sure that was an accident, but I don't know. I don't understand it. Maybe it was Siri. I'm gonna blame Siri. All right, let's look at the next story here. All right, what do we got? Schumer. Oh gosh, I hate this guy. Chuck Schumer dodges a question on why he opposes requiring proof of citizenship to vote on the GOP funding bill filled with poison pills, he says. All right, let's check it out.
Let's talk about Speaker Johnson expected to propose a stopgap funding measure in the House to fund the government until spring, but attaching to it new rules requiring proof of citizenship when voting. And we know a handful of House Democrats say they will support this. If this voter ID legislation is attached to the government funding bill, would you put it up for a vote, or are we looking at a government shutdown
Look,
here?
Speaker Johnson should learn from the past. You can only keep the government funding in a bipartisan way. You can't have a group of Republicans, particularly led by right-wing, hard-nosed who represent the whole Republican Party, put together a proposal with all kinds of poison pill legislation in it, and then say, this is what has to pass. That bill may not even pass the House. I think there are some Republicans who might vote against it. It certainly has no chance in the Senate or no chance being signed by the president. So, Speaker Johnson, look at what's going on. You can't pass a bill unless we come together on a bipartisan agreement. That's what has happened each time in the past. You've tried to appease your right wing. It's failed, and you've had to come to us and negotiate. We're ready to negotiate a bipartisan deal.
Mike Johnson wants to appease the right. Since when? He's an establishment rhino. What the hell? Let me tell you something. I hate that Schumer. I hate that guy. That guy shouldn't even be in Congress or Senate or whatever he's in because he caused almost the life of one of our Supreme Court justices. You know?
Yeah. No. If you want to know what pure evil looks like, just look up a picture of Chuck Schumer. Look, what's hilarious about this is two things. One, that's what the Democrats do all the time.
Yeah,
Democrats
exactly.
push their own BS crap into every kind of funding bill. There's always like a gazillion pork things that are just going to steal money.
They're the
and
masters
then he's
of
like,
it.
that's all they do. And then he's like, oh, how dare a Republican do this? Now, the funny thing is he calls this a poison pill. Now, what's a poison pill? A poison pill, it doesn't even make sense in this context because this is a funding bill, right? There's no real reason that the Republicans would want to put a poison pill in the funding bill because so what a poison pill is like, let's say there's a bill you don't really want to get passed, but you want people to think that you want to pass it. So you put out this bill, but then you put into the bill something else, funding for something or like a particular clause or something that you know will make it so that your opposition will not fund it. They actually do this to Republicans all the time. So what they'll do is, like, for instance, when they said we tried to pass legislation to stop immigration, right? Well, when they pushed that legislation to stop immigration, they actually put in that bill a bunch of poison pills, stuff that they knew that Republicans weren't going to vote for, so that Republicans would have to vote no on it, so that they could come out to the media and say, look, we tried to pass this legislation to stop the border crisis, but they refused to pass it. And it was because Donald Trump didn't want them to pass it, because then if we fix the border, then Donald Trump couldn't say, I'm going to go fix the border, right? Because we'd have already fixed it. So they didn't want the border fixed, but they wanted to create this bill to make it look like they wanted to fix the border, but they filled it with poison pills so that Republicans would have to say, no, we don't want this, right? So that's what a poison pill is. But to come out with a funding bill, which is necessary, you have to fund the government all the time, right? Like you have to fund all the crap in the government. I mean, obviously we shouldn't do it, but that's because the government's so bloated. But that's their job, is essentially fund the government.
I wish one of these
that's the most. It's one of their most fundamental jobs, though. Okay, well, I don't know what's going on with the timing here, but this is not.
No, I was
Jason,
gonna say, I wish they would. One Speaker of the House would just stop the funding and shut the government.
Well, you got to fund certain things. There's certain things that have to be funded, right? So that's why they always panic when they get to this, the funding.
The Republicans panic.
So, but I don't. Yeah, they do. But anyway, point is, this is like basic government funding. So this is something they do. It's not actually that big of a deal. Like, at no point have I ever heard of Republicans just like not wanting to pass the funding bill. They always want to pass the funding bill, but it's always a negotiation to figure out how much of the money is going to go to Republican stuff and how much is going to go to Democrat stuff and all that kind of nonsense, and how much pork we leave in and how much pork we try to cut and all this. This is always a negotiation. It's always like a mess. Now,
what I hate about government. Yep.
So calling this a poison pill, which is requiring ID to vote, a poison pill, because it's like, because that doesn't even make sense, because it's suggesting they don't want to pass the basic funding of the government. Well, of course they do. So it's not a poison pill. What it is just legislation that Republicans want that Democrats don't want. It's not a poison pill.
Yep.
You know what he's doing? He's using esoteric language to confuse people, so people don't know what he's trying to say. If he says the word poison pill and people don't know what it means, they're just going to go, "Oh, that sounds like it makes sense," but they don't really know what he's talking about.
Esoteric,
yeah. Esoteric
good word.
Language, yeah. It just means. I think it just means language that is very specific to a particular industry that most people don't know the word. Most people don't know what it is. So it's kind of mysterious and enigmatic because most people don't know what that means, right? He's using language people don't understand.
Yeah.
So to confuse
They're
people.
Good at that.
So he sounds smart. They're great at that. Democrats do that all the time. So anyway, so this bill, this idea that Republicans are putting this into the spending bill, this really is just to push Democrats and to either force them to do voter ID or to really expose themselves as corrupt, right? Because at the end of the day, this argument that voter ID is an impediment to black people voting.
That's an insult.
It's just the most
black people.
Yeah, it's just the most patronizing thing. Like, you want those primitive, ignorant black folks to actually go to the DMV and get state identification? What kind of a racist monster are you? Like, everything in America takes ID, requires ID. Like, everything you want to do as an adult basically requires ID. But voting, that's a bridge.
There's a great meme where there's like 100 list of what you need your ID for, and then there's one in the bottom just alone vote. To vote, to not where you don't need your ID, vote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great meme.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I wrote something the other day, some tweet where I was like, look, we need to create, once Trump gets in office, we need to create a national law about voting. We need to figure out a way to do this, to get this legislation passed, where across the board, not just in national elections, but in state elections, in local elections, we need 1 day voting. We can make it a national holiday, but we need single day voting. We need, we need paper ballots. The mail-in absentee voting thing has to be very special case, right? Like, I think even in some circumstances, I think we have to just say, tough luck if you can't make it to the voting.
Yeah.
If you're
that's
away,
for everyone.
tough luck.
That's for everyone.
Doesn't like, I'm out of the country right now. If it's, I would like to vote, of course, but if I'm out of the country in November and we pass that law, maybe I'm just out of luck. Maybe that's just how it goes. Like, if it's not important enough to me to get back to America, then I don't get a vote. But look, because we just need to get rid of the fraud is what needs to happen.
Yep.
And I think that the Democrats are so panicked and so against this.
Yeah.
Because this interferes with their plans to steal elections.
And
so I think
it's more for this election. Because if Kamala wins, if they cheat and Kamala wins, they're gonna give amnesty. They're gonna give amnesty to these illegals, and they got that vote. So
there's
that's
a
millions
lot of
and millions
they can do to rig the vote from this point forward. If they get, I thought they were going to do it when Biden was in office, but I think it was a little bit. I don't think they had the power in Congress.
Yeah,
but I think once Kamala gets in, they're going to really try to push for different kinds of legislation.
Yeah, they're gonna go. They're gonna go crazy.
I thought if they won this time, I thought they would reduce the voting age to 16, 17, something like that. I thought they would bring in like Puerto Rico as a state. I thought they would bring in Guam as a state. I thought they would take Washington D.C. and give that.
Guam hasn't flipped over.
Flipped over. No, funnily enough. That's one of the greatest political videos of all time. All right, so Tommy C has jumped in with a super chat, and he has said, "Hey Chris, Mom is making her Greek cookies, and told me I must send you some. How do you rank? Great show as usual. Cheers. How do you rank? I don't know what that means, but I do appreciate the cookies. I wish I was in America and I could get some of those, but I am overseas. That will be difficult, but it's nice to see you, Tommy. Thank you so much for the $20. Cheers to you back, sir.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah. Christie's Corner. Chucky was an evil animated doll, wasn't he? Chucky is in Chuck Schumer. Yeah. They're probably related. A Hot Fire Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company, $2 says, "We the people should stop funding all of them." This is the great thing about the government efficiency board thing, but we're gonna get to that in a minute.
By the way, yes, man said, "I just wanted to hear him read it." Lol. These comments are the best. So that's just his comment. That was all weird.
I thought you might have had.
He wanted you to sound like Biden, Chris.
I know, clearly. Let's see here. G.I. Jose jumps in. He goes, shoot. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. All right. Let's see. Okay. Hell Radio Lives says, any bet what Holchel's favorite immigrant food is? Okay, Jason, you got to come up with something funny. I'm not coming up with anything.
Me too. I was wonton
You know what I think
soup?
it
I
is?
don't know.
It's probably the tacos at the restaurant in Trump Tower. The taco bowl.
Well, I think with the news, I think he's kind of going towards some shrimp fried rice or wonton soup.
Kathy Hochul?
Yes.
The mayor of
You'll
New
see
York?
in one of the articles soon.
Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. All right. Curtis.
Chris doesn't know yet.
Katie 5. Oh, sorry. No, she's the governor of New York, not the mayor. The mayor is Adams. All right. Curtis, KD5AYY, $100. Thank you. Curtis is such a generous gentleman. He says, Mystery Babylon is in the act of falling, boys. Mystery Babylon. Mystery. I understand Babylon is in the act of falling. I understand that. What's the mystery part? Do you understand that, Chase?
No.
I don't understand it either, Curtis.
Nope. Clarify,
explain
Curtis.
that. You'll have to explain that with another $100 super chat. Joke. That's a joke. $2 is fine. 50 cents, whatever you want to get.
Yeah.
I
was gonna say,
that.
just put it in the chat, and you're very generous, so you can put it in the chat, and I'll
Jason will find it. Jason will find it. Thank you, sir. All right, let's jump into the next story here. Share screen. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to read this one. All right, majority of gang assault suspects. Analysis of gang assault suspects names in Germany claim majority are a migrant heritage. Really? What?
No, you don't say.
What an absolute shock. Who could have predicted that? Germany's AfD has acquired a list of 4 names of all 223 gang assault suspects in one federal state, claiming it shows the vast majority are of immigrant heritage. Yeah. Okay, so we've got here Barack. Claudia, Daniel, Dennis, and Didar. Claudia, Daniel, and Dennis don't sound like foreign names to me. Magnus, Marcus, and Marlon don't sound like foreign names to me. But according to this, let's see here. In these cases, 155 suspects have been identified, and 71 of those are German citizens, which is less than half, obviously. Known migrants are therefore already thought responsible for over half the attacks, the statistics reveal, but the disparity becomes even more clear when forenames, which can be released in line with German privacy law, if not surnames, are studied, it is claimed. Yeah.
Chris, nobody told them this. If only people warned them, why didn't anybody just tell them that this was going to happen? It's
for sure.
It's a shame.
He's being sarcastic, ladies and gentlemen, because everybody warned them that this is going to happen. All right, G.I. Jose jumped in and he says, my super chat wasn't working, filthy YouTube. Well, thank you. That just forces you to give us more money, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, YouTube.
Thank you, YouTube. Finally, your crappy system does something right. No, I'm just joking, of course. We appreciate you, G.I. Jose. G.I. Jose has been on the show, and he's a friend of Toxic Masculinity. We think you're awesome, sir. Stephen Thompson.
By the way, people, go check out his channel, his YouTube channel.
Yeah, Gia Jose, good channel. Stephen Thompson, who shares a name with my cousin, although R. Thompson has no P, says, have you guys seen the Veritasium video on why democracy is impossible the way we do it? Very interesting solutions put forth. No, I have not. Sometimes Veritasium does put out good videos. They have a phenomenal video on P hacking. The letter P, as in Patrick, my middle name, and hacking, right, as in like cyber hacking. And the video that I've seen about P hacking is just eye-opening because it really shows how unreliable scientific research can be, and even scientific research that he's laughing at the chat. Okay,
no, I'm not laughing at the chat. I'm laughing at your name. You're so white, man.
Oh, really? It's not that.
Chris
it's not that
Patrick
funny.
Cold. Wow.
Christopher. Thank you very
Christopher. Much. Even better.
Christopher Patrick Coles. Yes. I'm primarily German. I don't know why my family chose an Irish name, Patrick, for my father, but they were Catholic. My family was Catholic for many, many generations. And it was only when I was really like right at the time I was born, the whole family switched to being Protestant, but we were Catholic for most of the history of my family.
I mean, it's a great name. It's a presidential name, so you're good.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Stephen Thompson, he says he's talking about Veritasium, and I was talking about the P hacking video. Yeah, so P hacking basically shows the lack of reliability of scientific research in many cases, and also like even what they call it, peer-reviewed studies are often P-hacked. So I highly recommend watching that video, but I'm going to remember this. Okay, so why democracy is impossible the way we do it, Veritasium video. I can't wait to watch that. I'm very excited to see that. They put out some great videos, Veritasium. All right, Hot Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company, $10. He says, this was a $100 super chat 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's great. That is so perfect. That is
clever. That's very clever. Everybody should post those videos for us, or post those chats for us. That's pretty funny. All right, let's see here. Stop screen. We're gonna. Oh no, Curtis has jumped back in.
Wow, thank you.
to clarify, he put $100 super chat.
Wow.
Curtis, you are the man. That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Look how you made Chris like a little girl. Giddy like a little girl.
That's funny stuff, man. All right, Curtis, he writes, the fall of Mystery Babylon is from the book of Revelation in the last days. The fall of Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon. I don't remember that. From the book of Revelation. I've read Revelation, but it's been a while.
I don't remember mystery. I don't remember the word mystery. That's interesting. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, we got to look that up. Well, thank you very much for that, Curtis. I appreciate it. You know your Bible better than we do. That's embarrassing.
I'm going to look into that. I'm not a big Revelation reader guy because it's very difficult to understand.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah. And I mean, I've done my research. I've studied. I've looked at videos, but I don't know. I tend to like not get too deep into it. I should start probably now. I should kind of get more deep into it now. Maybe I'll have a better understanding. By the way, Renee Depp, thank you. It's our first time listening.
I don't know what the name
Depp,
is.
something like that. Reen Depp or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, Renee. Reen Depp. I don't know.
We appreciate you. All right, share screen. Let's get into the next thing. Libs of TikTok has just. Oh, I don't. Bro, you can't show this. What are you doing? You can't put this stuff up on our show. You gotta get us.
Oh, was it? It's not that violent.
Taken down. No, you can't put any violence. You can't put any violence. All right.
There's another video. Show another video. It's the same story, but there's no like hitting somebody.
Why do you put the same story up multiple times?
So people can get a better understanding.
We'll get but it's a lot of work for me. Okay.
There you go.
Breaking. A group of 32 armed Venezuelans took over an apartment building in Chicago tonight. Here's the audio of the 911 dispatch call. First, they did this in Aurora, Colorado, and now Chicago. Which city will be next? The invasion happened on Kamala's watch. Yeah, you know what's crazy is like the funny thing is, okay, I actually don't directly blame Kamala. I know a lot of people want to because she's running for president. I actually don't blame her directly for Afghanistan. I don't blame her directly for the border and any of this kind of thing, even though she was the border czar. Let's be honest. But the reality is there's nothing to indicate that she would have done any of this stuff differently. Right? So even if we can't blame her directly, you got to ask, what would you have done differently, Kamala? Because these are your people, right? You are a puppet of the same regime that Biden is a puppet for.
Yeah.
So all the people that are sort of in your circle, they were in Biden's circle. All your advisors are Biden's advisors. All of your administration is Biden's administration. It's going to be a carrying over the same people. So what, and you never said anything. Like you said, the border's secure. The border's secure. The border's secure. Wait, that was a lie. Okay. The reason that they're here is because of policies that you supported. It may not be the direct cause of your, like, say, executive actions. It was Biden. Okay, fair enough. But you supported all of that stuff. So what is to indicate that you wouldn't have done it? You were the border czar. You did have some influence on this stuff. So this idea that she's not in charge or, okay, yeah, you were not directly in charge, but you still would have done the same thing. It would be the same outcome. So, yeah, I mean, although I don't know if I would agree with exactly the language, this happened on her watch. I don't think it would have happened any differently if she had been actually the president. Maybe it would have been even worse. Who knows? So, I don't know. I do think she bears some responsibility. You can point the finger at her 100%, I would say. All right.
Well, it's her party. It's her party. You could blame 100% on them. And they knew this would happen.
Philosophy.
This is all to bring chaos here. And especially now with the election, they wanted this. And not only that, come on. You got to be the biggest idiot in the world to not think that Venezuela, that all these third world countries are going to release all their crazies, all their prisoners, and let them go to the United States of America. I mean, come on. You know what Kamala's
we said
doing?
this. We've been saying this for years. If you flood the border with illegal immigrants, it's going to be so hard for the border authorities to try to suss out who are the criminals, who are the drug dealers, and stuff like that, because they're overwhelmed.
Yep.
We've been saying that for years.
They don't care. They want it. So the other thing I was to say is that you know what Kamala and the Democrats are doing? Making Venezuela great again, crime free, getting rid of all their criminals. They got the third world has Kamala in the Democrats.
Trump should say that in the debate. Trump should be like, the only country Kamala wants to make great again is Venezuela. That's what she wants to make, because you know what, they're sending us all their
great and
criminals.
safe.
Yeah. That's what she wants. That's what she's doing. It's true. That's a great line. All right. Sonic Blue Strat says Dem voters are abuse victims. They identify with the abuser, rationalize their abuse as love, and hate anyone who tries to fight back. You guys rock. Well, thank you very much. That is such a great point.
I always say it's like the hostage. Democrats are like those hostages that end up agreeing with the
Stockholm syndrome.
It's Stockholm syndrome. That's it. I always forget that word, but yeah.
Somebody had just think I visited Stockholm for 2 months, so just remember that I
that's right.
It's in Sweden. It's in Sweden.
Yeah.
you know, somebody had posted once that like we're in an abuse. I think maybe it was me actually. I may have come up with this. I don't remember, but like we're in an abusive relationship with the government, the federal government. And it's such a true statement. That might have been something I stole from somebody. It might have been something I came up with. I don't know. I come up with brilliant stuff. Sometimes I hear brilliant stuff and I think I came up with it. Sometimes I come up with brilliant stuff and I forget that it was me that came up with it. And people have to remind me. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did think of that. That's great. You know, I think I may have a little touch of Joe Biden's disease. Who knows? But yeah, I do feel like, you know, these women that date these guys that hit them and stuff, and for some reason they like become like totally attached to these guys and they can't leave them and this sort of thing. You know, it's like a weird phenomenon, but it happens, you know, maybe not as much as it used to happen. I think now that we have Tinder, now that we have like, you know, online resources, people can kind of escape those relationships a little bit more. But like back before the internet, this was like a real problem. Girls would become like almost obsessed with these guys that were like super like physically abusive. It was like a weird thing that used to happen.
Yep. But what do you mean? Used to happen.
I sure it still happens, but Sonic.
It's happening. It's happening all over Europe with these Muslims coming in.
No, I'm talking about romantic relationships between a man and a woman.
That's what I'm saying. These Muslims are becoming romantically involved with these European women and treating them like crap.
What the hell are you talking about, Jason?
I'm just going on a tangent.
I think you're just making stuff up. Anyway, but it's a great analogy between these kind of these abusive romantic relationships and the relationship that government has with Democrats, especially like say Black Democrats, right? Like Black Americans, they're going to be living in like a mostly Black region of a city or something like that. And the Democrats are going to get elected by saying, you know, probably in a Kamala Harris fake Black accent, we going to help you out, you know, something. we got to throw some money at you, folk, you know, whatever. The Kamala Harris fake Black accent. Yeah. And black voters, for whatever reason, they cannot stop voting Democrat. Like, I don't know. They're like attached. They're like, it's like a mother-child thing where they're just going to defend their Democrat overlords to the death. And it's like, they are killing you. Okay. Do you understand? They are killing you. Like, they're destroying your life. They're keeping you down. They're destroying your quality of life. And they're just like, nope, we're going to keep voting Democrat forever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a mental illness or something like that, voting Democrat. It's terrible. Like TDS, you know. All right, let's move on to the next story.
No, but that story, it's crazy because these Venezuelans actually took over a building. Going back to that Venezuelan story, like they actually took over a building armed. Actually, they're doing it all over the place, and it's wild. Like, yeah, I knew this was going to eventually happen, but it's happening now here in the United States, and it's sad. It's really sad. It's sickening, and man, if Kamala wins, man, it's next story.
You're right. Well, Kamala can't win. We all know that. All right. FBI. This is crazy. The FBI has come in with a post, and they I don't know why the FBI has a Twitter account. I don't know why they're posting this stupid stuff, but they posted. I guess they posted this as like a brag, like this is a good thing because they're posting it about their own FBI director. It says FBI Director Christopher Wray to foreign adversaries meddling in American democracy. He says, "Knock it off."
Okay,
knock it off, you guys.
Oh yes, immediately. Okay.
And I actually posted this. This is the dumbest thing posted to Twitter today. Well done, FBI. And I got 650 likes, 651 now.
You told them, FBI. You told them.
You told them. And I think I wrote another tweet. I retweeted this and I wrote, the FBI then told the Kremlin, come on, bro, I'm serious. And then they said, really, guys, we mean it. And they did that with their hand, you know. I don't know if that's really it. It seems kind of gay. I don't know if gay people do that, but it seems like the thing that they would do. Yeah, let me jump in here. I think I got it here somewhere. My posts are fantastic. Everybody needs to follow my X account, and you should follow Jason's X account. He posts some excellent things as well.
At Jason T. Labrada, Labrada.
FBI to Putin. Come on, bro. I'm serious. So, anyway, so that's what not so many likes on that one, but hopefully we'll get there. Yeah. Anyway, I'm the world has gone crazy. The FBI is weak. Can you imagine if we had an FBI in America that was great again? Like an FBI that actually did its job accurately and effectively and unbiased and like wasn't going after like school age the parents of school age children. They weren't going after the January 6th protesters. They weren't going after Trump. They weren't spying on conservative Trump, and they weren't corrupt. Did you imagine like the FBI that we used to think we had like back in the 80s?
I was gonna say, bring me back the FBI that we portrayed in films like Silence of the Lambs. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if we really had an FBI like that? Like duty to God. They like actually like religious guys that actually cared about duty to God, duty to country, duty to family, like trying to be good men and like doing the right thing. Could you imagine an FBI like that? Oh my gosh, that would be so good, right? We would be the greatest country in the world again. If we had a CIA that was awesome, if we had an FBI that was awesome, if we had a military that was awesome, if we kicked out all these diversity hire degenerates. Oh, could you imagine, you guys? Oh, the world would be so good. The world would be so good. I got to make a parody video of like clips from like the FBI, how they're portrayed in movies from like the 80s, and be like, imagine a world for the FBI.
Yeah. I look at those trailers now and I'm like, man, why did we like those trailers so much? They're so tacky now. But
with the deep voice guys.
Yeah. It's like okay. I was gonna say, imagine that. And what's messed up is that you have these elitists, these evil people that are. I always say this. They want to go like instead of going progressing, they want to degress society. It's wild. I don't understand it. It's wild. Like just for a little power.
Yeah.
Like it's.
There's a video. Let me see if I can find this actually.
Because we could have a utopia, like the utopia that everybody wants. We should be living that right now. You know,
we should be. There was a post. I think it was yesterday or this morning. Yeah, this one. I'm going to play this for you guys. This is completely crazy. What I wrote on here, I don't think people understood. I wasn't very clear with the tweet. So, I'm going to play this for you guys, but I think I'll try to explain what I meant when I tweeted this.
And we're talking about specifically something that happens to Black people here in America. So we have to be specifically targeting to help those people, because we put those people in a position, and everybody knows the history. Everybody understands the history of America. America, you did this to these people. You should write laws for these people. Don't group us in with everybody, because everybody didn't happen to everybody. That's
Lord.
We from behind the eight ball. We way back there, 400 years back there. We're not asking y'all to give us nothing.
So he wants specific laws for Black people specifically.
Perfect example of what I was just talking about.
So in my tweet, let me go back to the tweet here. Hold on a second. So in my tweet, how do I get rid of this? There we go. I wrote, this guy wants specific laws for Black Americans. Kamala agrees. And I go, actually, Democrats have been in favor of this since emancipation. Now, when I wrote that, I wasn't clear because this guy's obviously advocating for laws that are specifically to benefit Black people. But Democrats, since emancipation, have been advocating for laws that are, that have been created in order to isolate Black people or to keep them out of white areas. You could create specific laws for Black people, specific laws for white people, right? It's called separate but equal. It's called segregation. This idea of creating specific laws for Black people is insane. You know what I mean? It's this like the KKK agrees with you, buddy.
Exactly.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever. He doesn't understand what he's asking for. And Kamala Harris is just like,
You know what Kamala Harris is thinking? Oh yes, you're doing something that we want you to do without even us having to say it. You know, you're self-segregating. We love it. Go for it.
Self-segregating. And
it's the Democrats. It's a Democrat's wet dream, especially a white liberal leftist Democrat white dream. Self-segregate people. This like, man, the IQ level in that room must have been like 3. I don't know, man. You know.
Well, this whole idea that they're 400 years back, they've been held back for 400 years. Nah. You are like 30,000 years back, man. When white people found you, you hadn't invented the wheel. Okay. You hadn't discovered a technique to boil water. If you're going to group yourself into, Africans and we're Europeans, right? That's how it went. Okay. So bringing you into Western civilization took you 30,000 years into the future. All right. If you're going to pretend that you are your ancestors, which you're not, right? You got to take the benefits along with the problems that came along with slavery and everything like that. But at the end of the day, you live in America. You got your own show. You got the vice president of the country, the woman running for president right now on your show. How many white people get that opportunity? You're good, dude.
They always talk about appropriation, but their race is the biggest appropriators of them all. Like,
of course,
everything of them is appropriation of Western
society. You drive
society.
a car, appropriation.
Yeah.
You fly in a plane, you're wearing Western clothes with buttons, appropriation.
Yeah. So let's not play that game, accept the fact that you should be grateful that you're here, like everybody else, and enjoy the fact that you're even born here in the United States. That right there is a gift. That right there, you just lucked out, I mean,
you know what's funny, Jason? Because like you're the child of an immigrant. But I'm not. I'm several generations back. You have to go to, I believe it's my grandfather's father or my grandfather's grandfather even that was an immigrant. It was a while, but several generations back. But let me tell you, my parents always told me, you are lucky to be born in America.
Yes.
That's what my father would tell me that as a boy. And I don't know if his father told him that and his father told him that, or that was just something that my father kind of thought up on his own. I should ask him one day, but when I was a kid, I remember very distinctly, and this is not a Kamala Harris or a Joe Biden BS story about their family. You ever hear that story? Joe Biden is like, my father and I were in the car once, and we saw these two men kissing. This is like when he was in high school. And my father just turned to me and he said, they love each other, Joe. It's that simple. Okay. You know how they write on Twitter all the time or on X, they'll respond to something and they'll go, of all the things that didn't happen, this didn't happen the most. That was the thing that didn't happen the most.
Exactly.
That is such a you're saying in like the 50s or in the 40s or whenever the heck you were a teenager, your dad said that a man loved another man and it was like normal. No, he did not. That never happened, Joe Biden. You're full of crap. Okay. But this did happen. My father used to tell me, you are lucky to be born in America. I remember that very distinctly as a kid. And I also remember thinking when I was a kid, I didn't actually understand that. I really actually didn't understand it because I believed, from my childhood, like ignorance, I believed that most countries were advanced as America, or at least European countries. And European countries kind of are. I mean, they're more or less at the same level as America. Australia is more or less at the same level as America.
You thought every country was like the United States.
I thought that a lot of countries were as
that's
the same
man.
level.
God is accepting your stuff again. It's funny because since that's the opposite for me because of my father, I realized that no, not every country was like America, and we are very unique and lucky, because so I actually grew up with that, like thanking God that I was born here in the United States and my father actually was able to get here because if it was the other way
of course,
around,
you had that education. You had
Yeah.
that education.
Yeah.
And I was just reading like books. I knew that there were some countries that were obviously like much more,
yeah, of course.
what were poor and everything like that. But I thought there were a lot of countries throughout the world that were actually fine. And I thought, am I that lucky? Because I could have been born in a lot of countries that would have been fine. And I guess that's true. But really, the United States, as you grow older and as you travel and as you
If you were
realize that the
talking
United
about,
States
like,
is the
Western
best country
countries.
in the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, exactly. But the United States, even among European countries, I would say that
Yes.
the United States is
Yeah,
the best country
agreed.
in the world. So, but you learn that through travel, you learn that through experience and stuff like that.
Let me before I forget, I just want to say,
those of us who are willing and able to do the work, will do the work. That's right.
he's haunting me. Oh man, you see, I forgot. Oh, so my brother-in-law is here. Is visiting here from the Dominican Republic, right? Because we have a situation with my father-in-law. So I was washing my car outside with a I was washing the car, and he lives in Spain, so he's from Europe. He lives in Spain. So I'm washing my car, and he's looking at me like funny, like weird. I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, you can't do that in Spain. They don't allow you to wash your car. I'm like, what? I'm like, you need to move here to the United States because we're free here. We can wash our damn cars.
Yeah, they got weird laws. Weird laws.
Yeah, it's things like that you realize, man. Thank God I'm here in the United States, and let's pray that these people don't take over because it's not going to be the United States anymore.
100%. Yeah, they want to turn it into Europe. They want to turn it into Europe and worse, and far, far worse. They want to turn it into a third world country, I would say. Hot Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company jumps in with $2. He says, did he count to 3 also? I don't know what that's referring to, but I presume I'm just very late on this super chat. Okay, Stephen Thompson jumps in. He says, the next FBI tweet is going to be, I'm gonna count to 3. Okay. You guys came up with the same idea at the same time. That's crazy. That's crazy. Thank you so much for both of that. So he's talking about the FBI director, Christopher Wray. I'm going to count to 3 now. And you guys better stop interfering with our elections. I get it. Hot Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company jumps in again. He says, an Indian walks into a barbershop. But that's Kamala Harris being interviewed by those black guys. That's quite good. All right, let's see what else we got. We got a couple more stories to go here. Oh, okay. I don't know. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. There was this Kamala Harris supercut that I found.
You missed the super chat, by the way.
Oh, did I?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, but that one just popped up. Jason, if it's just popped up,
I've been watching. I was looking at it the whole time you were reading the other super chats.
The Piv Vittel one.
You
gotta give me a second. You gotta give me a second to get to these. All right, hold on. All right, Piv Vittel. Let's look at this. $50. Oh, thank you so much, Piv Vittel. You are very generous. It says more Muslims need to read the hadiths, not just the Quran.
Hadiths.
Sahih Muslim 2143b. Seek the King of Kings. He loves you. Oh wow. Okay, I don't really know that much about Islam, if I'm honest. I did read something interesting the other day. This is kind of funny. There is a black stone in Mecca, right? So there's this place where they pray in the direction of Mecca. The Muslims do, because there's this black stone in like I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like there's this little, I don't know. It's like a holy place where the pilgrims of Islam go in Mecca, and I think it's called the Kaaba. And in the Kaaba, there is this like cube. It's hard to explain. It looks like a cube from like the Borg in Star Trek. It's actually very impressive because it's like a perfect cube and it's enormous, right? And they all circle around this. They got to circle around this a few times. This is like part of their tradition. And then a lot of them, they want to touch this stone. There's this stone that they consider sort of like a holy stone or whatever. But what's weird is I'm reading about this, and all of that stuff existed before Islam. And you read about it, and you realize that all of that stuff. You paying attention here, Jason?
Yes.
Lie. And if you read about it, you figure out that all this stuff was like the holy place for the pagans of that area.
Yes.
In Saudi Arabia before Islam. And if you read about this, like the Islamic academics, holy scholars, priests, whatever, I don't know what they're called, but they actually don't agree that this place is necessarily part of the, part of the Islamic faith. Really, they consider it like a good place for people to go, in terms of tradition and all that kind of stuff. But they don't consider it to be like part of like I think you have to read it, especially the stone, this black stone, right?
Well, yeah, the black stone is a meteor that fell at that time.
But they've done research on the black stone. They don't actually think it's a meteor. The people who have researched it, they think it's just a stone from Earth that the tradition says it was a meteorite, but they don't think it actually was a meteorite. But anyway, and I didn't realize that. I thought this was a place that had some significance to Islam, but it actually has significance to a previous religion not related to Islam.
Yes,
of the region. And what happened?
It's called Baal worship.
Is that true?
Baal is like Satan. That's a god they used to worship back in the day. Yeah,
I know, but I don't think that's true. I think you're just throwing stuff out there. Anyway,
well, all false gods, all false religions are Baal.
Okay, sure. Anyway, so but what's really weird? This is the really weird thing. So, in early
Jose
Islam,
agrees with me.
Okay, for crying out, stop interrupting. So, they used to, in very, very early Islam, they used to pray toward Jerusalem. And then at some point, for some reason, they changed the direction of their prayers to Mecca, which indicates to me that the Muslims are all praying to a false god. They're all praying not to the God of Islam, which is obviously like the same God as the Christian God, the same God as the Jewish God. No, they're praying to some previous religion of the region, praying to their God, or at least playing in the direction of the idols of that god, of those gods. Because that whole area in Mecca, that whole Kaaba area, that whole Kaaba sort of temple, used to have the statues of these other gods there. I don't know. It was a fascinating thing for me to read. So anyway,
in Islam, their god is the deceiver. Allah is what they so call. He's a deceiver. So, and in the Bible, who is the deceiver?
I've not heard this.
Satan.
I've not heard this.
Look it up.
You think that
it's very
interesting? That Muslims consider their own god the deceiver?
Yeah, Allah uses deception in the Quran. Yep.
Interesting. Well, I'll
do your research. Yep.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't know that much about Islam. I just read the thing about.
Well, it's interesting. I actually have the Quran and I've read some of it.
Yeah, I just never really dove into learning about Islam that much. And then I don't know. I think I saw a video about people touching the black stone on Twitter, actually, or on X, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. What is that? And so I looked up, and that's why I looked up all the stuff about Mecca and everything like that. MMA Fix jumps in. He says, yes, the Muslim pilgrims traveled to the Black Plymouth Rock. I think I have that about right. And they show the new shirt I gave you for the store. Wait, show the new shirt I gave you for the store. Oh, do we have a shirt?
He's always making a shirt, so.
Okay, I don't have a shirt.
Did he post something? No.
I don't know what's going on here. Okay. All right, MMA Fix. You let us know what the hell you're talking about. All right, let's see here. All right, let's see. I think we have one more story left. A couple more stories left. No, I don't want to show that one. No, I don't want to show that one. No, I don't want to show that one. This is a pretty good one. I talked about this on my show, and nobody seemed to care about my shorts. But my manager was like, the other day, he was like, dude, you got to post like 2 short videos a day. That's going to get you more views on YouTube. So I go ahead and I post 2 short videos yesterday, and they got like no views.
That's not your format, Chris. That's not your format.
Does this guy even understand how YouTube works? And I'm like,
but that's not even your format, man. You're known for your intellectual thoughts on politics.
I don't think the 2 video thing is going to work, but that's what he thinks. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do it. But anyway, but I did do a little short commentary on this. Let's go ahead and see what she has to say.
Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a Southern accent?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well,
I mean, this is...
She was talking about unions in Detroit using one tone of voice.
Is this something that
same
you think...
line?
Okay, Peter.
That she used the same line in Pittsburgh, and it sounded like she at least had some kind of a Southern drawl.
I mean, do you hear...
Whoa. It's just
lowering cost.
Yeah. It would be nice if Kamala talked about anything of substance, but she doesn't. So we have to talk about insignificant things, don't we? Because we have nothing of substance to discuss. But what drives me nuts about this video, and I talk about this in my little short, is that, no, we do care about that, right? We do care about that because it's about her authenticity. It's about whether she's willing to deceive the American public or not. If you go to one audience, it's what they call pandering, right? If you go to one audience and they say, I'm for whatever you're for, and I love everything that you love, and I'm just like you. And then you go to the next audience, you go, I am for whatever you're for, and I love everything that you love, and I'm for all that. And they're 2 opposing things, right? That's called pandering. You're pandering to your audience. She's trying to seem relatable to Black people. And I was actually going to do an AI video. I might do this, I might not, but I was going to do this AI video where maybe not, where I get different accents. So I get somebody speaking in an Irish accent, and she's addressing like Irish Americans. She's like, hi there, my name's Kamala Harris. I'm totally Irish. I love you guys. Sorry. And I have her do like a different accent for every group, and I thought that would be quite a funny little video. Kamala Harris addresses Irish people, and it's like the same
That's
speech.
Good. No, you should do it.
Different accent. That's kind of like one of my upcoming things. She's trying to be everything to everyone, right? So this is a common criticism from, I think, as long as I've been alive, I've heard this, trying to be everything to everyone. And you're really nothing to anyone, right? You're nothing to anyone because you're everything to anyone. So you're really nobody really knows what you really are. You're fake. You're not principled. You don't have any actual character. You're just this actor, right? She's sort of like, I made that thing like the brains behind AOC. AOC is just an actress pretending to be a congresswoman. That's what Kamala Harris is. You know what I mean? Kamala Harris is basically acting the whole time. She's not. I don't even think she's really a communist, right? I think she just thinks that's up until this point, being a communist has helped her political career.
Well, her father is a Marxist, so
her father's a Marxist, so she does have some of that already. And maybe she is a true Marxist. I don't know. I honestly don't even think she has the IQ to be a true
I think
Marxist.
She's influenced by her father, so she probably has the influences of that. Yeah.
That's probably the only political philosophy she actually has any knowledge of.
Yeah. And by the way, about AOC, too bad she got into method acting because she doesn't want to stop.
No, I know.
She really took the role on.
But anyway, yeah, I don't know why Karine Jean-Pierre doesn't just come out and say, it would have been so much better if she said, look, sometimes when I'm talking to somebody with a British accent, I actually kind of talk in a British accent. Sometimes when I talk to somebody, and I actually do that. I lived in England for a year, and when I came back from England, this is a true story. When I came back from England, I thought my family was speaking with like a Texas style Southern accent. Like they sounded different to me than when I grew up, really. And I was like, why do you all sound like rednecks? What happened to my family? Why do you all sound like you're you all have like a Southern rednecky twangy accent? And they're all standing around the kitchen. I remember this very distinctly. And they all looked at each other and they looked at me. They go, Chris, we're not speaking with. This is how we always spoke. I'm like, no, you all sound different. And they turned to me, and I think it was my mom. I don't know. One of them goes, Chris, you're speaking with an English accent. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you are. And I'm like, what? And I had adopted a slight British accent, but I didn't know, because that had just become normal to me. That's how people spoke right at that point. Like I had been sort of completely, I don't know what the word is, acclimated to that accent, I guess is the word. I'd been completely acclimated to the British accent. So my accent that I grew up with then sounded wrong. Like it sounded weird to me. So anyway, that can happen. You know, I mean, that can happen. And you can adopt the accent of somebody that you're speaking with if you have that in your nature. And I think maybe Kamala has that in her nature. So it may not be entirely pandering. So Karine Jean-Pierre, if she were good at her flipping job, she could have said that, right? She could have said, look, we all do that a little bit. We all take on the mannerisms of the people we're around. And Kamala Harris is just one of those people who she gets excited in the moment. She starts talking like the people she's around. It's not that weird of a thing, right? She could have completely dismissed it as just that. And I think most people would have gone, yeah, I do that sometimes. You know, I think most people would have, even me, I would have gone, yeah, okay, that was actually a good explanation. But what does she do? She goes, I don't think anybody cares about that, but we do, because we don't want people being inauthentic and lying to us.
Chris, you are trying to make the DEI hire smarter than what she is. Okay, come on, she could never have thought of that. Come on, and I think the people behind her that probably write things for her or figures out what she's gonna say couldn't even come up with that either, because they're all probably DEI hires as well.
No, 100%. But I'm actually trying to expose the fact that she's so bad at her job, because I'm trying to say it's not that difficult to actually come up with an explanation that would satisfy Peter Doocy and would satisfy basically the whole world. Because I think almost everyone can relate to what I just said.
I think she's there just to make Kamala and Biden, and when Biden was actually
Look
doing
good.
something. Look, exactly. I truly believe
we're
that.
bad, but look at Karine Jean-Pierre. We're not that bad.
Exactly.
Hot Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company says, did y'all talk about McGregor running for president in Ireland yet? We had that coming up. I don't know. I think I missed it, or I'll get
I have the story. I have the story there.
Half Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company says, dead serious, when I get out of the USMC boot camp, or when I got out of the USMC boot camp, Marine Corps, he says, everyone sounded gay in civilian uniforms. It was like, hoorah! And he goes out in the real world, and it was like, would you like that cappuccino with a squirt of caramel? You know.
Well, I got some sad news for you, Hofpour. Now, when you enter the military, they're all gonna sound gay. It's a new military, okay?
Oh, this is the best part of the show. Half Power, I love you, man. Oh, that's too funny. That is so funny. Dead serious. When I got out of the Marine Corps boot camp, everyone sounded gay in civilian world. That is funny shit. I mean, I should say it, but that's funny. I love that. I love that. Okay, yeah, we should get into the McGregor thing. We're almost done here. Let's see. Share screen. Let's find it. I can't find it. Oh, there we go. Conor McGregor, X. All right. As president, he says, I hold the power to summon the, I think that's like the parliament or something, as well as dissolve it. So as I said before, I would have all the answers the people of Ireland seek from these thieves of the working man, these disruptors of the family unit, these destructors of small businesses, and on and on and on. These charlatans in their positions of power would be summoned to answer to the people of Ireland, and I would have done it by day end, or I would be left with no choice but to solve the dial, I don't know, entirely. Stop the train until the people of Ireland deserve answers. I don't understand what the dial is. Do you know what that means?
No, I don't.
I don't know anything
but I'm sure
about
it's something
Irish
important
politics.
there, so
Yeah. Stop the train until the people of Ireland deserve the answers they seek. Point blank. This would be.
Is
I
it?
should read it. Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe it's their constitution, their version of a constitution.
I don't know.
Let me look it up.
I'll ask Grok. But I like Conor McGregor because he's kind of like no BS. He kind of just says what he thinks, you know. I don't know. Why'd you post this, Jason?
I hope he's serious. No, because what's going on in Europe, like they need Europeans, native people the native people of Europe to like step up, you know, like come on. Don't let them destroy your societies, your cultures. Like, come on. We need people like Conor McGregor. We need people like Elon Musk. We need people that have influence like that to stand up and you know, wake these people up. Like, I hope he's serious. You know, I really hope serious.
I hope he becomes the president. I think that's great. I did talk to an Irish guy out here who was like, Conor McGregor's a joke. None of us like him.
Oh.
But I don't think that's true, actually. I think that he's in the minority. I think a lot of people do like Conor McGregor.
It says here.
Yeah. No, I already read it.
The lower house. It's the lower house.
I already did.
Yeah.
I already read it. I already read it, Jason.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Yeah, it's the parliament. It's the parliament, basically. Yeah, he's great. I love that guy. You don't have to read the whole.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm glad I'm reading it because it's kind of interesting. I didn't know that. Learned something today. Yeah. I mean, really, like people need to step up. Like, come on. We're in a war. Like we always say, we're in a war. So we need the leaders, the people with influence, the people that can make a difference. They need to stand up because the average person right now is not going to be able to do anything. Like we need people to like step up, become leaders. You know, and make a change.
Yeah, good people. Trump to unveil big economic plan to make America affordable again. Did you read through this article?
Say it again.
Trump to unveil plan to make America affordable again.
Oh, yeah,
Trump
yeah.
Focuses on cutting government waste, scaling back regulatory overreach, and unleashing domestic energy production. All pillars he sees as essential for revitalizing the economy. This is kind of what he did back in 2016, or what he.
I was going to say, in other words, reverse everything Biden did.
Yeah,
and Kamala.
Where we got to cover the Musk thing. Where's the Musk thing? That's the sort of big story I wanted to cover, and I can't find it now.
It's there. It's go.
You know what? I'll just go ahead and give.
All the way in the bottom. It's all the way in the bottom.
I know, but I've kind of messed up where I'm.
Above the Reagan story.
Yeah, I know where it.
Above the Reagan trailer.
I know where it is on that. All right. Okay. So this is the big story of the day, as far as I can tell. I mean, the story that I think is the biggest story. This is badly needed, Elon Musk says. Let's go ahead and play the audio on this.
Total endorsement. That's nice. Fourth, at the suggestion of Elon Musk, who has given me his complete and total endorsement. That's nice. Smart guy. He knows what he's doing. It's very, very much appreciated. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. Be interesting. If he has the time, that'd be a good one to do it.
I love that he throws this little joke in there that Elon, because he's not very busy, you know, that'd be like easy for Elon to jump in and do that. And nobody laughs, like nobody got the joke, but he pauses for the laugh. Nobody's like, all right, moving on. But like, I genuinely laughed. Like, I thought that was really funny the first time I watched that. I was like, that's great. Elon, he's not busy. He can do this too. He's only got like 16 businesses he's working on, you know? But I love this. I think that this is such like a an epic. What would they? You know, they used to have those bands in like the late 90s, early 2000s. They called like super bands, where you'd get like one big pop star, one big band, and then you get another big band, and they would join forces and they create like a super band. And you don't remember this?
Yeah.
I think the Raconteurs were one of these. Anyway, but this is like Trump and Elon Musk teaming up. I think this is amazing. We got RFK in there now, who was also, I think, you know what? Actually, I want to mention this, but I'll mention it after I talk about the Elon Musk stuff. But I think that this taking on this like making America healthy again thing is fantastic, because I think since probably like, you paying attention here, Jason?
Yes, I am.
I think probably since the 1970s, the left really has had kind of a stranglehold on this idea that we should be healthy, right? Like all the weird, crazy health nuts, the granola eating hippies and all that, they were always on the left. But I think the left kind of like dropped the ball, and they dropped the. What are you doing?
I'm listening.
You're like in total profile. It's very distracting. But the left kind of dropped the ball, because like everything else, they're pandering to very specific audiences, right? So they're like, you know what people you know what people like? People like to be told that they're beautiful even if they're not. People like to be told that they're healthy and in shape even if they're not. So we're going to tell fat people that being fat is beautiful and healthy.
Yeah.
And so I think even leftists who are like, you know, health nuts at this point are like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, we've been trying to get people to eat healthy for years, and now you're like, no, Cheetos are fine.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
No. This is bad. This is bad. And so now you've got this situation where RFK, who is definitely a Democrat, like no question, he's a Democrat. He's joined the Trump thing. And I think we have a really great opportunity here to really make the Republican Party and the conservative political side the side of healthy America, making America healthy. Because I do think, like, I'm not like hardcore libertarian to the point where I'm like, government should do nothing, right? I do think there are certain things the government does need to do. And one of the things that I think is actually perfectly fine for the government to do is to regulate toxins in the foods, right? To figure out what is acceptable for companies to put in their foods. You know, you don't want, and this has always been true since like, I think like the days of like ancient Egypt, you know, like when they would produce bread in the Middle Ages, oftentimes the millers who would produce the flour and bake, and the bakers who would bake the bread, sometimes they would put in fillers like clay and stuff into the bread, and it would sort of make the bread more filling, and but it was, you know, because it was cheaper than actual flour. Yeah, but this is bad for people, of course. You know, it would make the people sick. So the regional governments would impose, you know, heavy consequences for adulterating your bread, right? And so this has always been true for as long as human beings have, you know, mass-produced food. We've had to regulate that mass production so that you're not poisoning the people of the town in order to save a little bit of money or make a little bit more money. So this has always been true. And so that is a function of government that I think is totally legitimate. And I do think we're kind of dropping the ball because of this relationship that a lot of these food companies have with government now.
As just going to say that. Yep.
You get these corrupt people in power who are willing to sort of like take kickbacks or take lucrative jobs from the food industry, and then they don't do their jobs. They don't regulate these industries correctly.
Exactly.
And so you get somebody like RFK in there who's really passionate about this and doesn't care about the money and can't be bought and can't be bribed and can't be blackmailed, hopefully. And he comes in and he cleans it up. And I think this could work really, really well.
Yeah.
Hold on. We got another super missed here.
They will not let Trump win.
Okay, stop. Oh, my God. You're such a pessimist. G.I. Jose jumps in. He says, his whiskey tastes like crap, and I know my whiskey. Whose whiskey tastes like what is he talking about?
I don't know.
I was late on that super chat. Sorry about that, man. But anyway, But yeah, so I really love the RFK food thing, because I was thinking about this the other day. Like, the left is giving us everything, like the left is basically like, we want men to participate in women's sports. So now the Republicans are the party of women. We're the party that supports female sports now. All of a sudden, you just gave us that, idiots. Like, you just gave us that, and like
Democrats are the party that has the war on women right now.
Exactly, you've got the war on women, and it's a legitimate war. It's not a BS one. Like, every time they say that, oh, the Republicans hate women, blah blah blah, it's BS. But it's kind of true on the left now. This is not something that we invented and we pretend, they're like advocating for this crap. Like, oh, you should have men boxing against women and beating the crap out of them. And then there's a lot of stuff. There's like this whole, the fact that they're so anti-Christian, I think pushes a lot of more traditional Black Americans, traditional like Latino Americans, immigrants and stuff. They're kind of pushing them toward our party as well this way. So the left is really giving us the high ground on everything. And I think that this is a natural consequence of the left just trying to pander for votes and saying what people want to hear, as opposed to being principled and trying to talk about things from a truthful position. Because you're trying to tell the truth and you're coming from a principled philosophical position, you're eventually going to end up advocating for all of the right things. And if you come from a position of just saying what people think, you're always going to end up advocating for all the wrong things, because you're just trying to win. You're not trying to find the truth. You're not trying to be honest. You're not trying to be principled. You're not trying to make America a better place. You're not trying to improve the quality of life of every American. You're just trying to win. And eventually you're going to be on the wrong side of every issue. And that is what's happening to Democrats. That's what I think. But I think this Elon Musk thing, this government efficiency board, I think this could potentially be the thing that really is the ultimate decider in draining the swamp. Because we already had Trump come in and say, look, I know all the bad people I got to kick out. I know all the good people I need to bring in, which I assume means that he's going to try to bring me in. But if you have a guy from the outside like Elon Musk, who's also a businessman like Trump, and he's a problem solver like Trump, and he can come in from the outside and he can look at where all the government waste is going. And he's not bogged down by the responsibilities of being president. Of course, he's got the responsibilities to his businesses. But I think Elon Musk can set something up where his very specific focus is getting rid of government waste. Bro.
You know what I love about this? I love about it because this is the fact that it's not like strictly Republicans, rhinos, conservatives. Trump is bringing together. He's really bringing diversity. He's really bringing diversity into it, And I love this
diversity of ideas.
Yeah,
the diversity of thought.
Most of my life, I've wanted to see this, like someone become president and do this, and it's happening. This is. Oh God, please, we Trump, please.
What's so crazy, Jason, is that the way we see it, and I think we do see it clearly. Okay, if I'm honest, I think we see this clearly. The way we see it is that this is like a pivotal moment potentially in U.S. history where we actually do great things for this country and we do great things for the world and we have really true progress, not the BS progress that they pretend that they want on the left, but true progress. And we could, like you said, we could have the utopia that the left wants. They just have to let us give it to them.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just let us build it for you. You've been relying on these straight, white, traditional value, Christian, European men for thousands of years to build your society. Let us build it just a little bit further.
Yeah, exactly.
Let us keep working on this for you guys.
And that's it. I was gonna say that's the thing about Trump. I hate when people say, "Oh, Trump's just another politician." No, he's not. He's never been a politician. This is what's so important about having Trump as president, and he proves it all the time. The first his first term in office, he proved it, you know, but he had everybody working against him, so he couldn't do what he really wanted to do. And what he's doing now also proves it too. He is not your typical politician. He is not Chucky Schumer, you know, that plays these party politics, you know. Yeah. And
no,
it's like I've dreamt of this most of my life, to see this.
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? Hot Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company says, pouring concrete at 3 a.m. Y'all have a blessed evening. All right, you get some sleep. Hot Power Concrete and Simplified Crawfish Company. Go get that shut eye, and we will see you on the next one. We're going to shut out here pretty soon. We're going to close this out pretty soon ourselves. But I did want to remind everyone that this is not just three ordinary white guys. You got to remember, Elon Musk, the wealthiest man in the world, is an African American,
a real African American,
a real African American. But yeah, you're 100% right. This is such a beautiful moment potentially in American history. We have these very passionate people. It's not just that they're powerful people; they are passionate people, and they care about improving the country. And I think that's why you get somebody like RFK, who does have an opposing view to Trump in many ways, has opposing views to me in many ways.
Yep.
But they agree on enough where Trump says, you could be useful to me here. And RFK says, you know what? I'm passionate enough about that issue that I'm willing to put our differences aside, and I'm willing to focus just on this issue of health in America and head that up for you. And Elon Musk is like, look, I may have 16 other businesses that I'm doing that are all, you know, billion-dollar businesses and very, very important and all this kind of stuff. And I love being on X all day long. But I'll tell you what, I'll give all that up, not give it up, but, you know, I'll sacrifice my time a little bit to fix the federal government. And he's passionate enough about that to do it, you know.
But that's what proves that they're truth, that they are real, because Trump put all his businesses, everything at risk running for president.
Yes.
You know, Elon Musk doing the same thing. He's putting everything at risk.
$44 billion to make X an actual free speech platform.
Yeah. I mean, that tells you right there that these people are no joke. They really want to help America. They really want to see America go at a better path. And for example, like the Democrats, like you have somebody like what's that? He was in the Senate. McCain. You have McCain always, like they will always say, oh, he's a real, like he doesn't play politics or anything like that. And like what's this other one? Kissinger or any of these people. Like they're real. They're leaving. They're like going against their party. No, it benefits them to go for their party. You can see the benefit that they get from that. Like, you know, I mean, it backfired on them badly, but you see the benefit that they got from that. It was a strategic move for them to do that, because they'll get benefits, they'll get richer, you know. But it's the opposite for Trump and Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy. Finally a Kennedy comes to our side. I mean, this is amazing. Like, this is real change here. This is,
and it's not just any Kennedy. I think that this guy is one of the most popular Kennedys since JFK and RFK. Like, this guy came out of nowhere and developed a following like crazy, just this year, really just this year. I mean, maybe starting last year, but he really blew up real quick. Yeah. And I think it's because this is why I think it is. I think RFK Jr. is actually believes what he says. Yes. And the thing is, I disagree with him on some things, but I respect his passion. I respect the fact that I think he truly wants to make America a better place. I just think that he has a different perspective than I do. I think he buys into some of the Democrat crap. But he seems to think for himself a lot more than most Democrats, and he's willing to change his mind on things. He's willing to cross the aisle on some things, and he's got an independent perspective, sort of like Tulsi Gabbard has an independent perspective, I think. And I like that.
Yeah, I forgot about Tulsi Gabbard. Exactly.
Yeah, she's jumped in as well, but she's not like a huge surprise. I think people are considering her the Black Widow of the Avengers here or whatever. But I do love Tulsi Gabbard. I'm glad she's on board. But she wasn't, to me, she's not one of the heavy hitters, just because I guess in my mind, she was always going to be on board. I mean, she was never, like, of course she was going to be part of the team. So, but she's great. I find her to be very refreshing and interesting. And again, I think it comes down to authenticity. And I think that at least on the right, we really respect people who are honest and actually care about the country and want to improve it. And even if we don't agree with you on everything, we will respect you for that.
Yeah.
The Democrats will not. The Democrats only respect you if you just toe the Democrat Party line and you just repeat everything they say and go with these like super leftist progressive policies.
Yeah. And also, I also hate, just going back, I also hate when they claim Trump is ran for president to make more money and all this. Like the Democrats will say this all the time. Like I'm like, people, do you realize he didn't take a paycheck for being president? He actually lost money when he was president. You know, like it's a complete opposite of what you idiots are saying.
And what's funny is even the money they claim that he has been able to get from being president, which he is almost all fake, by the way, whenever they say that. But the money that they cite, the amount of money they cite, is so insignificant compared to the amount of money that he's lost. I'm like, what are you guys even talking about? Like, he's not making money on it. If he would never have run for president, he would have made a lot more money.
Exactly. He would have been on TV, a million shows. It's ridiculous. And but like
he was
like
already
I said,
rich. He didn't need more money.
Yeah.
You know?
And like I said before, like, look at who's coming to our side. Okay. Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert Kennedy Jr. Look at the people that's coming to our side. I mean, and then look at the people that's going to their side.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, obviously, you have these people that were extremely left. I mean, I keep saying about Robert, like, it's a Kennedy, people. Do you understand? It's a Kennedy.
Liz Cheney. You guys can have Liz Cheney.
Exactly. But I mean, it's a Kennedy. You know, it's like I never thought I would hear that, a Kennedy joining forces with conservatives and
well, we always used to say that if the Kennedy, if JFK were alive today, he'd be a Republican, because the left has shifted so far left that, you know, the Kennedy era Democrat is now basically a modern day Republican. You know, they've gone nuts. The left has gone nuts.
And they did it to themselves, because Robert Kennedy really tried to stick in there. He really tried to be Democrat and run as a Democrat and all that. But what they did to him, like, I mean. Man, thank God.
Well, I'm very happy about how things have gone. But like I said earlier, this is what happens when the only position you have is whatever position is going to get you the most votes, or whatever position you think is going to get you the most votes. When that is your political position, you will always end up on the wrong side of every issue, because you're always at some point or another, you're going to give the opportunity for our side to take over a position that you once held that maybe was right. You know, I think it's always been right to advocate for health, and the Democrats had that on lock for years. Now who's got it on lock? We do. Why? Because you don't care about that anymore. What do you care about? You care about getting rich.
Yes, they've completely destroyed everything that they've built up. Like they had their voters, like they had pretty much America, I would say, but they've destroyed it in a matter of 4 years. Like they went crazy and just. They're the party of the war on women. They're the party of the rich. They're the party of the elite. They're the party of like you said, anti-science. You know, it's
they are. And the COVID thing didn't help them. But you know, they still have the one issue. They still have abortion. They still have abortion. I'm not saying they're right on abortion, but what I'm saying is it's a popular position for them.
That's a major That's a major problem, because liberal white single women, that's what they vote on. They vote solely on that. And that sucks. That sucks. And
so they're always going to have that block, because they're like young women are always going to want abortion. They're always going to want abortion. That's like always going to be a big deal for them. All right, well, that is it for us today. I feel like it's a good place to end. We went way over today. We got a little bit of passionate about things. We got things got a little bit heated, but not against each other, Jason. We were sort of on the same side with our passionate diatribes today, which is quite a lot of fun. You know, I had a lot of fun today. What was that post that just that got me? Oh yeah, when Half Power Concrete and Semper Crawfish Company said that when he left the Marine boot camp, everybody sounded gay and civilian.
Yeah.
Why are you talking like a homosexual, dude? I'm not. Do you want caramel in your latte or not? It's pretty funny. Anyway, all right. I think we have one more super chat here. Yes Man has jumped in. Oh my God. I hope this makes sense. He says, I just wanted to hear you read the nonsense text earlier for the lulz, but in all seriousness, keep up the good work. On a different note, are you team cameraman or team skibbity? Okay, I don't know what that means.
You see, he at the end he ended up losing us again.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, man, we appreciate you. And that's it for us. And remember, it's not that liberal friends are ignorant; it's just they know so much that is not so.